Monday, July 8, an unforgettable worship service. Read Mark chapter 1, verses 21 to 28. What unforgettable experience happened in the Capernaum synagogue, and what spiritual truths can we take from this account? Mark 1, beginning at verse 21. They went to Capernaum, and when the Sabbath came, Jesus went into the synagogue and began to teach. The people were amazed at his teaching because he taught them as one who had authority, not as the teachers of the law. Just then a man in their synagogue who was possessed by an impure spirit cried out, "What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." "Be quiet," said Jesus sternly. "Come out of him." The impure spirit shook the man violently and came out of him with a shriek. The people were all so amazed that they asked each other, "What is this? A new teaching? And with authority. He even gives orders to impure spirits and they obey him." News about him spread quickly over the whole region of Galilee. Most Christians have some unforgettable moments in their Christian walk. The decision to follow Jesus, the day of their baptism, a powerful sermon during which they deeply felt the presence of God. Some of these moments might not only be unforgettable, but be life-changing as well. So it might have been for some people in Capernaum on the Sabbath described in Mark 1. And they were astonished at his teaching, it says in verse 22, "For he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes." As Jesus was teaching, a demon-possessed man, no doubt impacted by the power of Jesus' teaching, shouted, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." And Jesus cast out the demon. Think of the implications of these words from the demon. First, the demon recognizes Jesus as the Holy One of God. He acknowledges that Jesus is the holy emissary of God, in contrast to the unclean, unholy hosts of Satan. In a worship setting, one expects holy things and individuals, not unholy and unclean things. Thus, in this story, there is a sharp contrast between the forces of good and the forces of evil. We can see here the reality of the great controversy. People might not yet know who Jesus is, but the demon certainly does, and publicly acknowledges it as well. Next, the command to come out of the man is understandable. But why the command, "Be quiet"? Beginning here in Mark, a remarkable motif appears. Jesus' call for silence regarding who he is. Scholars call this the messianic secret. Jesus' call for silence makes good sense because of the political overtones of messianic expectations in his time. It was risky to be a Messiah. Yet, mixed with the calls for silence are the unmistakable revelations of who Jesus is. What will become clear over time is that Jesus' identity cannot be hidden, and the truth of who he is becomes the center of the gospel message. People need not only to know who Jesus is, but then to make a decision about how they will respond to his coming and what it means for them. So, to finish today, in seeking to witness to others, when might it be prudent not to present all that we believe regarding present truth? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.